If you work in quality control at a candy factory, you know strict safety regulations come with the job. It's why you partner with Grainger. Grainger helps you find the high-quality and compliant products your business needs to inspect, detect, and help correct issues. And the sweetest part is, everyone gets a product that's as safe to eat as it is delicious. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah. This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
It's good to have you on board. Busy hour coming up. We will get into these prices that we have in the NBA and the NHL, series prices and game ones. A bunch of props on the board for tonight and for this week as well. And here we'll begin talking some NHL as the great Eddie Olczyk joins the program now. And he is on the Progressive guest line. And this is on the heels of being in Toronto last night, calling that game. It was a bloodbath, but Florida got Toronto 6-1 in Game 7, and they march on. Eddie, good to talk to you as always. Thanks for the time today. How are you?
Hey, Mitch, Pauly, always great to be with you guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
hey, Eddie.
Pleasure to talk to you as always. We were just talking about this and how surprised we were. I mean, Toronto goes to Florida, shuts them out in Game 6. Obviously, it's been forever. This fan base is starving. And these players have been like up against it now, and they feel all the pressure in the world. Here you get the Panthers at home on a Sunday night to close them out in advance, and it was tilted ice for the first 5 to 6 minutes of that first period. Were you surprised calling the game and how Florida dominated early on?
I mean, nothing surprised me when it comes to the playoffs, you know. I mean, I know that pressure well. Now, obviously, the world's a much different place than it was in the late 80s when, you know, I was lucky enough to play in Toronto for 3.5 years, and so I understand, you know, the limelight and the pressure on in a hockey trade, you know, market like Toronto. But at times in the series, both the teams, as we were talking, guys, before you brought me on, and at times in the series, both teams had their way with one another. I mean, it was a very close series. Now I know the last 2 out of 3 games, you know, Florida, you know, dominated the majority of Game 5, and, you know, they dominated the majority of last night's Game 7. But Toronto, I think, they won the first 2 games, and then they had Florida. I don't want to say you have a team on the ropes in Game 3, but when you're up 2-0 and you are up 3-1 in a Game 3 on the road, you got a chance, and the defending Stanley Cup champions, I might add.
Yep.
You got a chance to really, really put the squeeze on them and give Florida credit. I mean, I think their depth, their strength, ended up really testing the Maple Leafs in the 7-game series. And it seemed to me, again, I did Games 3 and 4 and 6 and 7 for TNT, so I think I got a pretty good feel of in the building, and then watching on television, it just seemed that as the series went on, Florida became I think they showed why they have been to the Stanley Cup final the last couple of years and defending Stanley Cup champions. They just seemed to be able to get their depth players really going. Their top players had a couple of big plays when they needed them, and Sergei Bobrovsky certainly was way more consistent as the series went on than he was early in the series. And this takes nothing away from Joseph Woll, who played an unbelievable Game 4, where it could have been 3 or 4-0 after period 1, and he gave his team an opportunity. So it happens, unfortunately. I mean, like I said, I lived it there. I know exactly the feeling and what those guys are going through right now. But expectations were a hell of a season. They won the division to avoid either Tampa or Florida in round 1. They did that. They took care of Ottawa. But then they weren't able to take care of the defending Stanley Cup champions on home ice. And obviously the way it went, it was very disappointing. But give Florida credit. They got stronger, I thought, as the series went on.
Do they? So I can't say they win the series if Stolarz doesn't get hurt? Or can I say that?
I think that certainly is an interesting dynamic, Pauly, because he was their guy, and he was, he played very well in the playoffs, especially in round 1 against Ottawa. And then obviously he took that shot to the head with the puck. And then, right after that, he got the forearm there, by Sam Bennett. And then, a couple of shifts later, he's on the bench and he's sick and, and then all of a sudden, he's out of the game and then here comes Joseph Woll. So, sure. I guess, could it have been different if the number one guy was in there? Yeah. Could have been different. Sure. But as we know, injuries and sickness and all that is a part of playoff hockey. And, I think Woll performed well, obviously. I think, in games 3 and 4, they needed him. Like, I think game 3, it's not exactly inside hockey here, but game 3 was the game where you needed Woll to play like he did in game 4.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, you needed him to be just to shut the door and just say, you know what, we're going to go up 3-0, and then, we're going to, you guys got to take your chances on winning 4 straight. So, goaltending, if you get it, you got a shot. If you don't get it, you have no shot. And I think in a couple of these games later in the series, Bob, like I said, got stronger. And unfortunately, Joseph Woll gave up a couple of softies, and then all of a sudden, the Leafs were on the run.
Follow the money, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. The great Eddie Olczyk with us here on the Progressive Guest Line. He was in Toronto last night for Game 7. You're already in Carolina, and this is such a quick turnaround. So is Florida, right? They play tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Eastern time. Does that hurt Florida, you think, with that quick turnaround?
It sure. I would say yes. Now, we've seen it in a lot of situations where teams have had, 4, 5, 6 days off, and then the team that battles in a 7-game series comes out in game 1, and they're already at that level, and it takes the team with a little bit of rust on them to get going, and all of a sudden that team that you think is out of gas finds a way to, to get the job done, and then all of a sudden it's a different series. So I just think with the way that the series was with Toronto, it's not an easy trip for travel for both teams. Florida's got the Game 7, and now they're on their way to, here to Carolina, and they got to get right back into the saddle. But I think that their depth, I believe Mitch, it allows them to be able to win games maybe when they don't have their fastball. And then you got the guy in goal. Like I said, I can't emphasize enough. He just seems to be, he seems to be so zoned in right now. Is that you're going to need? They're going to need a goalie win here in this series, and if it happens, there's a very good chance that it's going to be in Game 1 for Sergei Bobrovsky. But just to give people a heads up too, is like this series there are no 2-day breaks here. I think the West as well. I think it's every other day for the next 13 days, whatever it ends up being. So something to take into consideration where you look at a team like Florida that has had, the 7-game series, even though it was 5 games against Tampa. Those are tough series. You got guys that are banged up. But I would say, a slight edge to Carolina from the aspect of being well rested and coming out like gangbusters tomorrow. And, I'm not saying they can win the game in the first 10 minutes of the game, but I think you guys know what I mean. They're going to come out and they're going to be throwing everything at the net. They might have 12 shots the first 5 minutes of the game, and might take Florida a little bit of time, but they're a wagon. Florida's a wagon. I expect them to come with their best punch in this series, and we'll see how it all starts out tomorrow night here in Carolina. By the way, where it's a beautiful day. It's about 84 degrees, and looking forward to puck drop tomorrow night on TNT, just a little bit after 8 Eastern.
3 minutes, sir. You're an expert on this. Was the best comeback you've seen? Best comeback out of journalism? And what'd you think of what the jockey did? If that was a good ride, a bad trip, was it reckless?
Yeah.
Take us through this.
Well, I didn't like his ride in the Derby because I was all over journalism. I had future tickets on him. Of course, it's all about me, but 12-1, going into the Derby. Yeah. So 12-1 was looking good when he went off as the favorite. Look, I think he does breed different here. I think this is an unbelievable animal. I think the Belmont's got a chance to be an unbelievable race in whatever it is, 19, 20 days from now. So, so I didn't like his ride in the Derby. I thought he got a little excited there, and I think he got a little horned up there. And instead of maybe waiting a little bit, he moved early. I thought he did everything that you wanted in that field. He sat in behind, and then sometimes it just happens where it gets a little snug, it gets a little tight. The agility, the athleticism. So for the ride that I thought that wasn't great, I think he can go fivefold here. I thought he just he put his horse in a spot, and then all of a sudden he had the adversity, and then he was just able to find that hole. And then once he got outside, I mean, it was over. I mean, it was lights out. So an amazing effort, and I give him all the props in the world there to be able to stick handle his way through, if I can use the pucks and ponies analogy. And, it was just a very impressive win. And it's even money. You probably got a little excited there, probably at the eighth pole, and you're like, oh my gosh, you look at all the problems. But I think this horse is very special. I really do. He was my pick in the Derby, and unfortunately, the off track I think might have set him back. But I think the Belmont's got a chance, guys, to really be an unbelievable betting race. And let's hope that all these horses can stay healthy here in the next couple of weeks, and hopefully journalism goes, and you get the Derby winner there in Savantry, and you get Baeza in there as well. It's going to be a real deep field, and hopefully you'll be able to make a little bit of money.
Yeah, I think you're spot on with that. Eddie, you're the best. Very gracious with your time as well, traveling as much as you do. Thank you so much for the time, and have a great call tomorrow night, okay?
I appreciate it, guys. Keep up the great work, and I look forward to seeing you down the road.
Sounds great. There you go. Eddie Olczyk with us here on the Progressive Guest Line. That finish, if you would pause the race when journalism got caught up, bullied, whatever he called it, stick handling, if you paused it right there and said, I'll bet you any amount of money you want that journalism is going to come back and win this thing, you'd say, okay.
There's no room.
Sure. You name the amount.
He gets bumped.
No,
there's no
zero.
room. Yeah. That's why the back and forth about the experts and about how it was a horrible job, could have been an accident, all that.
But the way he just charged then.
I know.
And forget about it. Like stampeded its way to a win.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
I forget the guy's name, but the call was unbelievable. I retweeted. The call was so good.
Yeah.
He's just stunned. It was genuine. It was legitimate. What? Journalism.
Sure.
Awesome.
Up next, we'll discuss hedging. Pauly has 19-1 on the Pacers. We each have the T-Wolves at long shots. Long odds will tell you what we're going to do coming up next.
If your job at a healthcare facility includes disinfecting against viruses, you know prevention is the best medicine. And maintaining healthy spaces starts with a healthy cleaning routine. Grainger's world-class supply chain helps ensure you have the quality products you need when you need them. From disinfectants and cleaning supplies to personal protective equipment, so you can help deliver a clean bill of health. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Maybe the most frequent question we get asked here on this show, and I don't know, could be across the entire network, is what do I do about this ticket? How do I hedge? How do I lock in a profit? As Mike Palm has said for many, many years, I want to monetize my ticket. I have to walk away with some cash, right? Pauly, as you've said for a long, long time, if you are walking on the sidewalk and you spot free money down there, a lot of cases might be 5,000, 10,000 more. What are you going to do? Walk right by it?
Yeah.
Not going to pick it up?
I think of our old friend, though, Dave Malinsky. You have to like the bet. He also would say, and I think the Pacers win the series. So certainly we're getting carried away with the series price, but to have 19-1 on
which
the
you
Pacers,
do.
Yep, the Pacers to win the East. But even though I think they're the better team and they're going to beat the Knicks.
What are you going to do?
I know. It's tough. It's the exact opposite of the West, which I know so many of our listeners have Indiana and Minnesota future tickets. But we've gone through this the last couple of years as well about sometimes you just have to sit there, let it go, and hope and pray. Because now you're talking 350, 360 on the OKC Minnesota price.
Sure.
Which you get creative and do some things, but it's fun to kick around and look at. But I'll take a little Knicks, but I still think Indiana wins the series. And again, I wouldn't be surprised if Indiana gets a game in the Garden. They're 4-1 on the road in the playoffs.
So you're going to bet Knicks minus 160, you think? Or do you want to let it ride for a minute here?
I don't know.
You're going to take a little before it starts?
You can do stuff in play, too. I mean, Indiana might jump on them.
Sure.
And plus, it's the NBA, where like 20-point leads aren't safe.
Clearly.
And crazy swings. How about the double? Like if you want to go OKC to win game one and OKC to win the series, or with the Knicks, if you want to do that, because then you get into plus money too. Knicks game one, Knicks series, because you're ecstatic if you steal game one, because we got the road teams here.
Right. Well, I'll give you an example here. And I still have a bitter taste in my mouth from the end of the season last year in the WNBA because we were on the Minnesota Lynx, like not immediately, but it wasn't that deep into the season. Had a nice ticket on them at 11-1 to win the title last year. They make it all the way there. They're playing the Liberty. The price on the series was super high. I'm like, oh my God, I can't even do anything with this. So what did I do? I got involved and I bet the Liberty to win game 1 and to win the series. What happened? The Lynx came back to take game 1. I mean, they shocked the world. It was a big comeback. They won the game, so that ticket is dead. And then, the reason why I'm still bitter is because the Lynx got absolutely screwed out of a title in game 5. The referees completely handed the game and the series and the title to the Liberty. And I'm not exaggerating. I'm not saying that because I had a ticket on the Lynx. It's some of the worst calls I've ever seen in my entire life. And that decided the title late. You can't have that happen. So
the commissioner had the dress on to the skyline.
That's right. And the Twitter account, back where the championship belongs. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
So I personally have been burned on that. So I don't want to do that.
Okay. All right.
But also, I'm guilty of picking and choosing when I want to hedge, which I don't think you can do. I think you are either like Nigel Seeley, and you never hedge. Our buddy, our soccer expert who's been on the show for like 7 years, he refuses because he's going to be in these spots. He's convinced over and over and over again, and it'll play itself out to where you're going to win enough of these tickets that you're better off by not hedging. And I could flip it, though, and say that you probably, if you're going to be in these spots all the time and you hedge all the time, that way it's probably going to work out the same way. And I will tell you that I play futures a lot. And if you've been listening to the show enough, you know that. And I'm in a spot to where I might be able to hedge the other way. And sometimes I pick and choose what I want to do, and that can come back and burn you. I did hedge against my Florida ticket that I had here, and I had multiple Florida tickets win the national title. Never had to. They won the whole thing. But the last 3 years in the West, I've been holding huge tickets on a team. I'll go back to 2023. I bought on the Lakers when they were at rock bottom, and I had them at 47-1 to win the West. And I can remember telling you on the air, before that series started against Denver, I think they'll take one of the first 2 in Denver. If not, I'm quite confident that they'll come back and win at least 1 or 2 in LA and make it a series, and I'll hedge then. Also, I missed the best price by like 25 cents. I didn't hedge. Denver swept them. So I made nothing on a 47-1 ticket. Last year, I'm sitting on, oh my God, the numbers on the Thunder were, for the 1 seed, I had them 60-1 to win the West. I had them 80-1 and 100, above 100-1 to win the title. I had them at 40-1 to win the West. I had the Timberwolves from early on in the season, gigantic numbers across the board.
Oh,
and I also had the market cornered, I should say, on the Nuggets on parlays that included them to win the West, that closed out several parlays. And if it wasn't for you, I think it was like beginning of the playoffs, late in the season, whatever it was.
Late regular season.
Yeah, you were like, you got to bet the Mavericks right now to win the West. I'm like, what? Really? I have to do that when I have like these 3 other opportunities that look magnificent? Like, okay, you twisted my arm. If I didn't, I would have walked away a complete loser last year. But I had all 3 of those teams at huge numbers. And if I didn't take the Mavericks, I would have pissed everything away. So now I'm sitting on the Wolves at 40-1 this year to win the West, and I'm not doing anything with it.
Okay.
Because I'm not laying 360 in this series.
Right. I think it's outrageous. Absolutely. You see the lack of big game experience that has almost cost this team the season. They have not played well on the road. They were going through the motions against Memphis on the road. They were 1-7 ATS before they got the blowout win. But again, I don't think Denver's that good. I mean, you got 2 guys out there.
Yeah.
Murray had the flu. Porter's got 1 arm. Gordon's got the hammy. Joker was exhausted, and it went 7? Come on.
And it was 41-40 with 3 minutes to go in the first half yesterday.
So getting there last year for Minnesota, right? Getting there last year for Minnesota, I think is going to help. But if you can't get a game in OKC, then you're really up against it. There's nothing you can do then other than pray, because then the series price is just a monster if OKC goes up 2-0, and then a team that wins 68 games, you got to beat them 4 out of 5. But you can maybe small on the double. In play as well. That's the other thing. You can attack it from an in-play standpoint. OKC's been down double digits plenty of times here.
That's true.
So don't be surprised if it's, and it's like Eddie said, it's bizarre with the scheduling. They got to come right back now. Florida's got to come right back, and now it's not the Knick game. They start in the West tomorrow. where Minnesota had all the time
That's
off.
right.
And
I
now
think
OKC's got to come right back.
I think the game one number is really, really high for what it's worth.
I agree with that, too.
So you brought up something key there, too. What Dave Malinsky always used to say. He's like, nah, you got to kind of like the bet if you're going to hedge, right?
Yeah,
you're not just going to burn money here.
Yep.
My example would be I teamed up with our good doctor here, friend, Mr. Gephardt, on a ticket that he had on the Eagles to win the Super Bowl. So I had some of that 16-1 ticket that he owned. I did not hedge on the Chiefs because I hated the matchup for Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, I should have added more on Philly. I didn't. But if I did not have that ticket, I absolutely would have been betting Philadelphia in that game.
Yep.
I loved the overall matchup and the breakdown and what possibly was going to happen. And
okay, that's one instance, though.
No, I know.
But go back.
Right?
Go back.
Exactly right.
How about people who had Houston? You're up 12, 10 minutes left to win the title. You're not going to take any Florida before the game or in play? I mean, how does that feel?
So to use that as an example, on the Florida tickets that I had, I don't regret hedging on Houston at all. Again, that would have been a 2-hour nightmare to live through. That would have not been enjoyable at all. But to me, that was the safe bet, was to lock in a profit. And could you imagine if Florida doesn't come back and I did not have a hedge? I would have hated myself.
Yeah.
So I guess, again, that comes down to picking and choosing. And I think you just basically have to make it, for example, January 1st every year, tell yourself, okay, I'm going to hedge these tickets or I'm not going to hedge. You can, again, because if you're going to throw a coin flip up there and say, I'll hedge this one, but not that one, you can absolutely just get barbecue doing that stuff.
Mm-hmm. It's a great spot, though, now. Now it's fun. This is good. And it's wide open.
Imagine had you played a Pacers T-Wolves exacta.
Oh, God. The big tickets that are out there, I mean, it wasn't that long ago that Indiana was 125-1. The best price I've seen, by the way, is here at Circa. The Pacers are still 9-1 to win the whole thing, but it's the 125-1, the 70-1, and then the Minnesota stuff too. I mean, it's just
remember we did the
that wasn't that long ago either that they were 45-1, and then they got hot to close the season.
The pizzeria bet that we had from last week. Somebody has Knicks T-Wolves in an exacta. I think it's the Wolves over the Knicks at 350-1.
Yeah, fair to put. Yeah, even though they weren't that high, because they had all the hype coming in after the big trade. And they're still the Knicks. I mean, again, they went 0-10 against the top 3 teams in the league.
I know.
And got blown out in all of them.
Mm-hmm.
So this is unlikely. And it hadn't happened in 25 years. Before the line moves, the sharp plays at sharpplays.com already there. They don't chase the market, they move it. You're not going to outmuscle billion-dollar sports books or full-time pros on your own. But with the sharp plays, you don't have to. Powered by cutting-edge AI, trusted insider sources, the Sharp Plays delivers the edge that serious bettors rely on. Free betting reports, real-time alerts, and market-moving insights, all delivered right to you via email or X. He's made his first appearance a couple weeks ago. He's been with us since day one. This isn't some overnight startup. Documented track record going back to 2011. Receipts, public logs, and results right there on the site. Respected, watched, and feared. That's the Sharp Plays. Check them out, sharpplays.com.
So I guess long story short, for those of you holding the Wolves as an example here on a big ticket, I don't have any advice for you. I don't think there is any good advice.
I do the double small.
You would.
Do the double.
Game one in the series?
$1.70, yeah.
Props for tonight coming up next here on VSiN.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
The props here, as we do every day on this show. Major League Baseball. It's a pretty solid card overall tonight in terms of overall number of games. The overall player matchups that we have tonight, batter versus pitcher history. Nothing like superb jumps off the page. Castellanos has 3 career home runs against Freeland, but he's also 4 of 17 career. So 3 of the 4 hits have gone yard. Trey Turner, I guess, might be worth a look because he does have 10 hits, including 2 home runs off Freeland, but maybe like a total bases prop there for him. I told you about the prop that I played a little bit earlier for the people just checking into the show now. I'm riding this hot streak with Pete Crow Armstrong.
Yeah.
Good numbers against the Marlins, including hitting a home run last week. I played over 1.5 total bases at plus 105 today for him. But I don't have any home run props as of right now. You want to look at this Benson kid from the Reds?
I do. He's hit a home run in 4 games in a row. He's 4-1 to go deep tonight and he's hitting .420 in the last 9 games.
That same game parlay from Friday cashed.
Yeah. Okay, and he's plus 135 for 2 total bases. So whatever's working, he's locked in. Benson props. Freddie Freeman over total bases. He has good numbers against Fott. And again, Freeman continues to rake during this incredible run that he's on. Last 6 games, he's hitting .478. Oh. And then I mentioned what Steer's done against Keller. 6 of 16 with 3 doubles. So that's not a lot jumps out, but that's some strong stuff. And what Benson's doing is incredible what Benson's up to.
Is that the most unlikely thing to happen so far in baseball? The Dodgers to get swept by the Angels? Again, I believe so. A rollover parlay would have been about 32 or 33 to 1.
Yeah. At home, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. What happened? Crazy. It's a funny game.
It is. So, NBA series beginning tomorrow night in the West. Again, that number is 7.5 for the Thunder. They just played yesterday. The Wolves have been off forever here. Big number?
Damn right it's a big number.
I think that the Wolves, that number is probably worth a bet.
Minnesota's better than Denver. We know that. And Minnesota has a higher power rating. Minnesota would have been favored even without home court.
Right.
And then just to see how OKC struggled against what I thought was an average team, they fired their head coach and GM with a week left in the season. It was a total bleep show. So I give the Adelman credit, what he was walking into, but there's no way they should have made it this far. And we'll see the move. Just what the ownership and management did with the roster is egregious. He's had no depth, and then Westbrook, of course, is going to bite you in the ass. That's what he always minus 94 for the series.
So bad.
Yeah, okay. So it's a whole different ball game here with Minnesota. Again, to answer your question, yes. Length, depth, athleticism, protect the rim, and a lot of guys who can shoot the 3. So I think this is going to be a great series, and that's too much.
How about will Shea Gilgeous-Alexander score 45-plus points in any game? You can bet that at BetMGM. Yeah. It's a little bit shy of 2 to 1.
Well, he did go off in 3 of the 4 meetings.
Yeah, he did.
So, the 30, 37, 39, and 40.
Yep. You can also bet Anthony Edwards to score 40-plus in any game. That's plus 155. He'll have one of those games. I think Edwards will it'll be a roller coaster series for him because he is so good. And yet the Thunder can hit him with, a ton of different defenders and make it a living hell for him. So I would expect Edwards to have maybe like 1 or 2 games that are subpar, but I think he'll play the other games at an absolutely elite level. Will he have 7 threes in any game in the series?
Ooh.
That's
no, that's not good enough.
That was a plus 180?
No, 7.
Yeah.
No.
Not going to bet that.
No.
You can bet will Julius Randle score 30-plus points in any game of the series around even money.
No.
The guy's been absolutely phenomenal. But
that's not against his defense.
Yeah.
This great defense, and plus I think it'll be a lower scoring series. I mean, he was awesome against the Lakers in the last series, but still he only averaged, 26 against Golden State. So that's a big ask.
In the other series, JVT wrote about this on vsin.com. I'm going to co-sign. It's Josh Hart. 5 to 1 for the most rebounds. Great breakdown by
series.
GVT.
In the
series, yeah. I'm not talking for the game.
So places offer series and then both conference finals together. And I thought this was low. One spot has Cat rebounds leader, $2
for both series.
Yeah, I saw $3 at Will Hill. So there's. I thought because what he did on the boards he's going to eat against Indiana.
Yeah, there's also to me not worth a bet because the guy might have 4 fouls in the first half of 2 games.
That's true, and I know you love Hart's game. He's been awesome.
I do, yeah.
But that's also then you got Gobert. Gobert's the second choice. How many minutes does he play?
Well, I honestly think that there's an angle here. Again, he can be special in this series defensively. I think he's going to have to be. But let me flip it because when the Wolves are playing offense, you can't even consider throwing the ball down to him, Paul. He'll kick it out of bounds. He'll take 2 dribbles and turn the ball over. He is awful on the low block offensively. And against this defense, with guys like Hartenstein and Holmgren and Williams and the way that it's going to be a bee's nest down there, I would much rather do some stuff with Naz Reid in a positive way in this series than I would with Rudy Gobert. Mm-hmm. Because I think Reed here is going to, and there's an angle here where the Wolves might go small anyway, might be better off doing that. And I love Naz Reid's game. I have for a couple of years at least. Guy's awesome, has an impact all the time, and he can do everything.
They have the most points in the Knicks series. Brunson's minus 750. Cat's $9 rebounds. Halliburton's $9 assists. And then I find threes leaders intriguing. I think, Cat's the favorite, but he was horrendous against Boston. He didn't make any.
But also so good, though, in the regular season against Indiana. And the different matchup here than what Boston was, too.
Right. Yep. They also have...
Can you make a case for anybody other than Brunson?
I can't. He's too good, and he takes so many shots. Can't do it. And all that stuff you referenced at BetMGM, DraftKings has some stuff up about playoff records. So if something astonishing or unbelievable happened in the playoffs, it's either Wilt or Jordan. You can bet your ass. Any player to break Jordan's single-game conference finals record, 55 points. Who did he do that against? Jordan had 55, 20-1. I think the Suns series, he averaged 42 a game or something. I mean,
give me the candidates. You have to get to 56 points, huh?
It's
oh my
SGA
God.
and Ant. I mean, Brunson have to maybe double overtime if something.
You need probably an overtime game
happen.
for Brunson to do that. Yeah.
LeBron has the record for series record, 15-1, 236. Klay Thompson's got the single game record, 12, 75-1, 13 threes. Curry has the conference finals record series, 20-1. And
do you know how many Curry hit for the series?
Yeah, 32.
Of course he did.
32, of course he did, right.
Yeah.
Wilt had 31 boards.
Oh, that's not going to get that's safe.
Magic Johnson had 25 assists.
That's probably a good one too. That's not going to get broken. I would need 300-1 minimum to bet something like that.
Right,
yeah.
It's 200. Right, and Magic had 97 assists in a series.
Oh my God!
What?
What?
I gotta look that up.
Are you serious?
God,
that's wow. And so you can bet, will somebody have 98 assists?
Yeah.
And what's the number on that?
there's a lot of zeros.
There's probably not enough.
1,001?
1,001, huh?
Yeah, 1,001.
Not enough.
I need more.
You give me 10,000, we'll sprinkle,
okay,
but
yeah.
1,000, no thank you.
Good. It's creative. Good stuff. So you can do all of the conference finals or just the series leaders and how they're going to do it. But some of these are just, the prices are outrageous with, Brunson, Halliburton, Cat with that they figure they're going to cash.
You said Cat's $9 at that book just to lead the East.
In the next series. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's ridiculous based on several factors. One, again, that we can reiterate all show long is that the guy is very foul prone.
Mm-hmm. But Siakam and Turner maybe take rebounds away from one another.
I bet on another Nick guy.
That's right. Yeah. Gobert's minus 160.
And here's the thing.
Hartenstein's 3-1. Chet's plus 330. Randall's 30. Ant's 50.
Okay. I'm with you on that. It's going to be tough for somebody to overcome Brunson and be the points leader. But I got to tell you, to me anyway, the following numbers are attractive to win the Eastern Conference Finals MVP.
Okay.
Bridges is 40, OG is 65, and Josh Hart is 65. I'm going to those are at DraftKings. We can't bet there, but if I can find similar numbers, I think I'm going to sprinkle.
All right. A lot of good stuff there. But let's stay hot with Benson. Hitting 420 his last 9 games, plus money to have 2 total bases. G-Bank, best bet. Get the G-Bank Visa Signature Card today. Most credit cards treat sports books and gaming transactions as cash advances. That's even when you put your own money on the card. And G-Bank treats gaming transactions as purchases, so you're saving up to 3 to 5% on cash advance fees and gaming transactions right there. You're earning 1% cash back rewards on eligible sportsbook and gaming transactions and 2% on eligible purchases. Apply now, VSiN.com/GBank. VSiN.com/GBank.
I'm excited, though. I think we're in for a doozy, man. This is not your granddaddy's NBA that we're talking about anymore. It's a new league. It's open. It's never been wide open for the most part. Up next, a member of the Follow the Money Army is crushing team totals in Major League Baseball. I'll share his daily approach next here on VSiN.
If you work in quality control at a candy factory, you know strict safety regulations come with the job. It's why you partner with Grainger. Grainger helps you find the high-quality and compliant products your business needs to inspect, detect, and help correct issues. And the sweetest part is, everyone gets a product that's as safe to eat as it is delicious. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Well, we asked for the tickets. When you share, I feel obligated to report the news back. You can always get in touch with us on X at VSiN Live, at Mitch Moss Radio, at Pauly Howard. This was sent to me during the break. I wondered what a Pacers Wolves exacta would have paid not that long ago. And this was sent to me, placed on April 10th, Paul. Not that long ago. $30 ticket, Pacers to win the East, Wolves to win the West. Pays 780 to 1.
A creative.
Yeah, you're probably gonna hedge on something like that.
Because they were still 19 to 1 and they haven't faced the Cavs yet. I think they were just finishing off Milwaukee. Yes, that's right. So because I was concerned with how the Cavs looked defensively against Miami early in the series and how Indiana was 43-16 since January 1st, whatever their record is.
This was right before the playoffs started, and the Pacers were 33 to 1 to win the East, and the Wolves were 22 to 1 to win the West. 780 to 1. Oh my goodness. That's got to be one of the biggest long shot tickets I've ever seen in my entire life. That's live with a pulse like this. So this is from a longtime member here of the Follow the Money Army. Goes back to when we were doing mornings for several years. You can follow him as well on X. He's at Daniel Good1, Dan Goodwin. Good dude. Met him last year at the Dexter Moss Memorial Race that took place honoring my late Lhasa Apso in the Indianapolis area. So, again, he's the person who was paying attention to the 13-run pools in Major League Baseball. And he's like, wait a second here. I'm noticing that a bunch of these teams are like not even coming close to checking off every box that it takes. Again, you got to score 0, 1, 2, 3, all the way up to 13 runs to win that. The first team to do so will cash that pool. And he noticed it with the Pirates right away. And he sent me a tweet this morning. Here's your Monday update on the specifically now betting team totals under 4.5 for the following teams. He crushed it again this weekend. And he has narrowed the list down to the following teams. Pittsburgh, 40-6 on the year, under 4.5 runs. Again, it's been, 23 consecutive games?
23 in a row, under 4 runs. They haven't scored more than 4. Longest since the 71 Phillies. They'll tie it tonight.
Wow. Your Kansas City Royals next on the list.
Yeah.
40-7, under 4.5 runs.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay is on the list. Washington, Colorado, and Texas. A couple of other teams are creeping up, but not on the list quite yet. So he was betting these straight when he first noticed it. And the odds, or the juice, I should say, it wasn't out of control. Well, they've gotten a little bit out of control. For example, tonight, the Pirates, they're taking on the Reds in Lodolo. Earlier this morning, the Pirates under 4.5 was minus 188. The Royals under 4.5 runs against Robbie Ray, minus 210. The Rays tonight, although they're the home team, good ballpark conditions, minor league park, under 4.5 was minus 115. And the Rockies playing at home, under 4.5 against the Phillies was minus 194. He actually did say that he was still playing these straight under $2. But he's adding round robins to the list, and he's generally playing them by 2s and by 3s. So take it around with that. It's a way of betting parlays, obviously. It might not be obvious to everybody here. But so if you bet a 3-team round robin, right, and you do it by 2s, that way if one team misses but the other 2 win, you're still going to walk away with hitting one of those 2-team parlays. So you're not going to get crushed on it. And he is up more than 50 units doing it so far in the year. It's only May 19th, and he noticed it a while back, again, probably a handful of weeks at this point, but he's doing it every single day, and it's coming in. Now that we talk about it today, watch all these teams score 7 runs tonight, but...
Yeah, the Pirate game just went from 8 to 8.5 at DraftKings. Yeah, but that's great information and a good job by him, and that's paying attention also with the 13-run pool, which everyone likes.
Sure. I'll give you this too. The best first 5 teams in Major League Baseball. The Cubs continue to be the front runners here. They are 28, 12, and 7 in the first 5. They play tonight. Brown is going for the Cubs as they take on Miami. They are 15-5-5 in the last 25. The Tigers are in action against Sonny Gray and the Cardinals. They are 26-15-5 in the first 5. The Yankees are 24-15-7. And this team has been a machine lately. Phillies overall 23-14 in the first 5. They're 12-4-4 in the last 20. Again, they're playing the Rockies tonight at Coors. Colorado is on a 2-12-1 streak in their last 15 in the first 5. All those numbers courtesy of our buddy Kevin Rogers.
So you're telling me the Phillies are only $1.50 first 5, minus a half.
Minus a half.
Okay.
On the money line, they're minus like 230. Would you want to lay a full run? Reduce the juice?
They're going against Freeland. I mean, they should. It's Freeland, Sensatella, and Marquez here.
Yeah, well,
it's ERA of 6, ERA of 7, ERA of 9.
I will say that Freeland has been a little unlucky this year. The ERA, like you said, north of 6. The FIP is 3.29. The XFIP is 3.45. Batting average of balls in play, typically the average there is like 300. It's 377. And the left on base rate is 53.4%. Again, it's tough to make a case for the Rockies ever, and I'm not trying to do that. All I'm trying to explain there is that he's been maybe a little bit unlucky so far this year.
Mm-hmm.
But
how about the Mets and Senga? You got the Sunday night angle, the tough loss last night.
Sure.
But the Red Sox have lost 5 of 6. Senga, 8 in a row, allowed 2 earned runs or fewer. He's only $1.05 against Dobbins. He's been great. You get Mets look pretty good tonight.
Let me chime in real quick. Senga's ERA is 1.02. The xFIP is 4.21. Now so obviously the ERA might be a little bit misleading, but this is not Pauly. Boston, like you said, they've lost 5 of 6. They're starting rotation 0-3 with a 10.87 ERA. That's 33 earned runs and 27 1/3 innings pitched in that span.
Mm-hmm.
Yuck.
Yep. And what do you want to do with the Twins? Who the losing streak finally came to an end. The scoreless streak finally came to an end. But this incredible run that they've had, and now it's Ober tonight. And Cleveland is 13-4 against them the last 2 years.
Yeah.
But now Ober's $1.50.
Guardians are a little bit of a mess.
How well the Twins are. What a turn. Who saw this coming, right? Between the long shots we've had in the NBA and then the Minnesota Twins who were up to a horrific start, all of a sudden no one can hit them, and they win 13 in a row in the pitching. How about the bullpen? So everything's been great.
Last 30 days have been like the best in baseball. Uh-huh. So what I'm holding Tigers 16-1, most wins in May. They're 1 game back of the Twins. All I can do at this point is just hope and pray that the Twins lose. I'm not going to hedge against it. I'm not betting the Twins. I did bet them on Friday, though, because I thought the number was ridiculously low against a bad Brewers team. But that was not part of a hedge on that Tigers bet.
Yeah.
But so I don't really want to do that. I'll give you this. Any interest in betting the Guardians right now, you can always come back and get off this potentially. Updated season win total to the under, because 25 of the next 28 games are against teams 500 or better.
Yep.
And they are 10-13 against teams that fit that criteria so far this year.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe
I don't hate it.
In the next month, there's another number available. Yep. You're like, okay, I'll get off that now and bet the over.
Should St. Louis and Sonny Gray be $1.70 though?
It's a big number. They're taking money.
Yep, 6-0-1 the last 7 series, and he has owned Baez, but the way Detroit's hitting, or at least those big 3 guys we mention every day on the show.
Well, can I ask you a question here to tie into your Twins comment?
Uh-huh.
Who saw this coming with the Cardinals?
I know they were also playing, and they were horrendous on the road.
Yeah,
they've turned everything around now.
They saved their season here with this stretch.
They did. Yep.
I'm a little bit in disbelief of that turnaround from them. Uh-huh. Well, the same thing can be said about the Twins. The Twins.
How about Baltimore?
Well,
how about for all the wrong reasons? Fire your manager. You're 15-30. You've lost 6 in a row.
You want to bet them tonight?
No, I don't. They didn't get that boost from the new manager in the last series either.
I will say this. Adam Burke had a really good write-up on the game today. He has it currently. It's at vsin.com. He made a case for the Orioles. I haven't bet it yet, but the Brewers are, this guy they're throwing out there today can be had, and the Brewers are in some pretty rough shape, man. They are not a good baseball team.
Yeah.
But to make a bet on the Baltimore Orioles right now, boy, that's the ultimate hold your nose kind of game.
The one thing I forgot to mention, the St. Louis starters, 2 earned runs or fewer, 10 of the last 11.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Pitching's been great. Take your betting to the next level with First Bet, whether it's Santa Anita, Gulfstream, or Saratoga. First Bet puts the action at your fingertips. Sign up now, firstbet.com. Promo code VSIN200. Get a 20% rebate on all your wages for the first 60 days up to $200. Don't miss out and bet smarter today. Firstbet.com. Go get it.
All right, a lot to get into with our next guest coming up. Brian Mahoney's going to join the program. He has covered the Knicks and the NBA for a long, long time for the Associated Press. Is the city going to burn down? Forget about winning the NBA Finals. If they make it to the Finals based on what happened after beating the Celtics, are they just going to burn Manhattan to the ground? Is that it? Done?
I think they'll be okay. They need to settle down, though.
Yeah, but I don't see that. I don't see that happening.
It's not going to be Vancouver. Not going to do what Vancouver fans did.
Ugh. How does he envision the series playing out? We'll ask Brian as we go back to New York next year and Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
If your job at a healthcare facility includes disinfecting against viruses, you know prevention is the best medicine. And maintaining healthy spaces starts with a healthy cleaning routine. Grainger's world-class supply chain helps ensure you have the quality products you need when you need them. From disinfectants and cleaning supplies to personal protective equipment, so you can help deliver a clean bill of health. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.